Hey, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to the stream, everybody. So, like gold has been struggling to move up. It's like every time we create a new higher high, price pulls down. So that's what we got happen here, here, and right over here. So it's like it wants to fill this range from yesterday's candlestick, but it's struggling to push up there with volume. You know, I think it's because the overall market direction is bearish since a Wednesday over here. Ooh, but London's looking, the daily looks like kind of indecisive. You know, we still got like the daily like a doji candle here. We haven't had any direction yet. So you can see this is the Asia lows, they're the Asia highs. And we're just kind of like in the middle. Kind of like in the middle. There's a sell that I'm contemplating though, because of this range here. It's about a 35 pip range. It's a 35 pip range if we can break below 33.14. Yeah, Ellie, it's a fishy day today. It's Shark Week, you know. We got NFP, we got FOMC tomorrow. So all this just means that a price might be sharky. Yeah, Shark Week. It's nice to see everybody here in the chat. Ricardo in the chat. Architect, good morning, guys. Tarek. Locks, Jay in the chat. What's up, Woods? Welcome back to the stream. So we gonna see what Goldie here does today. I feel like, you know, just as per usual, we had a New York session move yesterday. So New York session ended up moving down. You got the full continuation throughout the New York session. But before the move down, there was a lot of choppiness. You first had to survive all the sharks to catch that move, or just get in on like some proper timing. If you got in, let's say you're coming in like just by the New York Open over here, then, you know, you could have avoided all of this mess, all this consolidation, and then, you know, price broke out. So that would be in line with the New York Open. And now we see we're getting the London Open here. So London just opened, and I'm expecting some kind of volume to be coming in. You know, I'm expecting to maybe take a sell here, and then maybe we can continue selling off. Because with a London session, what I'm looking for mostly is follow-throughs. Correct? So, you know, instead of getting caught in a range with going against overall bias, I'd rather get caught in drawdown going with the sellers, to be honest. I would feel a bit more comfortable with that. As we are still moving down. Even if you look at the daily still pushed down. Yesterday's daily candlestick. We are at some kind of daily support areas. Might get a little bit tricky as we're coming down here. But yesterday's daily still continue to push down. Heck, we might just still push down here today. It's markets prepping for something. And I think that's going to be the tariffs on Friday. Investors are closely monitoring ongoing talks between the US and China amid expectations of a 90-day extension to the August 12th tariff pause deadline. This comes during a pivotal week for Donald Trump trade agenda, with a separate deadline looming this Friday for other countries to clinch a deal. Following an agreement announced with the EU on Sunday that included a 15% tariff on most European goods. Talks are still underway with other major trading partners, including Canada and South Korea. Meanwhile, obviously, Federal Reserve is scheduled to meet this week and is widely expected to keep rates unchanged. Although markets continue to price in a potential rate cut in September. Oh, okay, so we're pricing in even. So it's also like a pricing in here for the rate cuts, potential rate cuts. All right, I see. I think it makes sense then. You know, price coming down as well as everything else. You took a trade? Yes, I took a buy this morning. I think, what was TP? I think it just needed to hit my TP there. I wanted to secure a TP2. And it missed by, I don't know, a few pips. Maybe like 5 pips, I can't remember. But yeah, I still want to hold that trade. I thought it was a good idea that price could start running up here with the pre-London volume, that we could correct some of this range. So, you know, lost about 676 bucks. So yeah, now I'm going to see what I can do here. Maybe, you know, if price is not moving up, then I think then that's what it is. It's just struggling to move up then. You know, what can you do? I'm going to see, put my stop loss here. I want to see if this resistance here can hold. I think, you know, the good thing about this is that daily is going to be flipping. So we're going to be getting that daily. Look at this. It's right at the daily flip. So we should be expecting some daily volume to come in on that flip. We are trading the trenches though. If you're looking for an A+ setup, this is not an A+ setup. This is trading the trenches. Because the daily here has not yet had any significant moves. So what I'm expecting is just like some sort of directional bias to be formed. So hopefully, you know, this candlestick can first close before triggering me in anything. This is some pure trench trading here. But again, if I was to pick a direction, I will go with the sellers here for this session. I would go with the sellers, seeing how the buyers already struggled by, you know, 33.22-ish. Got about 2 minutes here. Candlestick to close. Oh, hourly candle is still fresh as well. You see, the hourly candle has not yet had a move. Stop loss up here. Nah. I think that's too big. Stop loss up here. Nah, it's too big. It is too big. I hope this candlestick does first close. I hope it doesn't break like in the last seconds here. It looks like it wants to break, but I need this candle here to close. I need to first close, and then re-break the lows. Maybe it's gotta be like a shotgun play. If it can close below 33.14. I think the clean move will be in NY. Yes. Oh, come on, Goldie. Don't break now. Because if it breaks now, it's going to be too fast to recalculate lot size and everything. It's going to be way too fast. Then I just got to accept missing the trade. You know, as I try and catch it again. Look at this. I think it wants to close below 33.14. Oh, Goldie, come on now. Ooh, this is pushing here too much. Uh-oh. This is coming really close. It's coming really close here. Six seconds. Okay, I think I should make it. Yeah, I should make it. All right, cool. All right, guys, just got in my cell. I'm expecting a dump, a follow through to the downside. It's a shotgun play. Candlestick has now closed below support. And the next candle has broken the previous lows. Stop loss above into the range. So if I'm expecting price to move down, then I'm not expecting it to come back into this range. So, you know, create a resistance over here. And if we come back into that range, then, you know, it is what it is. This is going to be a range. This is going to move sideways until pre-New York time. Daily time frame is 0%. Right now, it should be getting daily flip. The daily candle just flipped slightly over there. So, you know, daily has created its daily highs. And if it's created daily highs, maybe we can keep moving down here. Let's dump it, Goldie. It could be, you know, markets overall have just been moving down of late. So this could have been just that accumulation to have a potential continuation to the downside. We still need to get through some key levels down here, some key wicks by 3305. Stop loss just above this, let's see, about the 15, the hourly candlestick. Yeah, it's above the hourly candle. So, you know, this hourly candle, obviously, you know, it should not be reflipping and breaking its own wick highs. You know, at that point, it wouldn't make any sense. Like, if you think about it in this perspective, if we're moving down here and then the hourly was to reflip and break the highs, that would not make any sense. You know, then it's just going to be stuck here. It's going to try maybe break above the highs here again and then come back down into the range. So we'll see what we can do on this position. If our market can give an opportunity or option to reduce the SL. But it's still a bit too early because it just got in. We don't want to mismanage the trade. I waited for top wick and entered again some small pips, and I was afraid of the full dump. Hopefully this is a full dump. Can move on down towards like at least this is 3311 over here. Nice. All right. Stop loss to break even here, chat. TP has been hit, but I just want to hold for a bit longer. Still got a bit of room over there for range to get filled. All right. Securing over here, chat. Awesome. Well done, everybody who got stuck in this move. Bumbleclot. See, this range is pretty small. It's a pretty small range. So this is the ranges we have to trade, chat. You know, if you want to catch a move, this is what you got to trade. This is all the London session is giving us here. Like, the ranges are not that big. You see, we already filled up more than 65% of this range over here. That's it. It's about like 27 pips. 25 I secured around 25, 26. Pretty good. It's a tricky London. If it's a follow through, it just needs to break. It needs to break this areas here with volume. You got so many levels of support. The support levels all across the board here. Oh, nice. Sell, double sell, triple sell. Getting to the bottom of the range. What an exit. Yeah, because now this kind of like the playground here. You got a resistance up here and you got a support down below this zone. So we're accumulating. We're getting ready for quite a big move. This is going to be happening, I guess, pre-New York and white time. But today, fundamentally speaking, we don't... What do we have? Xauusd job openings. We got Xauusd job openings. That's the only thing that we have today. Insane month. What a crazy month this has been. What an insane month. Really good month. Very nice month. My best month in such a long time. But it's also because I don't plan to trade aggressively. You know, maybe I would have more chances of getting high percentage months like this. But I don't trade so aggressively. You know, I like to take my time with my trades. Like 25, 30 trades a month. Ooh, and June was 11%. Nice. But the good thing is, for price to move up, at least it's going to create some sort of room over here. You know, as price comes down, create some kind of room over here to move back upwards. Yesterday I got the dump, but I couldn't help myself of trading even after saying I wouldn't trade. Did like 2%. Oh, nice. At least you got some money over here because, you know, when the market is directional like this, definitely can give really good options. If you're noticing like a lot of the selling momentum, then yeah, I don't blame you, you know. Just at least wait for a good signal. Bunch of dumps, bunch of dumps, bunch of dumps, and we're still moving down. It's like this is a major consolidation to potentially start heading down, I feel, later on. But it's quite interesting then. What's going to happen with the FOMC and everything else? Because we've already dumped so heavily, we're at the bottom of the range. You know, we're at the bottom of this consolidation here on the daily. So, wow, man. Like, this can be quite interesting. Previous daily candle, 1, 2, 3, 4 bearish candles in a row. Yeah, this is gonna... I feel like gold can create like some very dynamic price action. Like we might even see some more aggressive dumps. I would not be surprised, just so we can clear this structure here on the left-hand side and then start playing within this new zone. Such as this. So I'm gonna draw here, and then this becomes a new zone, and then we're gonna kind of like ignore everything else that happened over here. So price is gonna create that structure, and then we're gonna start creating some new ranges in this area over here. So would not be surprised to see something a bit more aggressive, to be honest. Did like 150 on the dump, and today up like 47 bucks. But today I really need to push accounting. What do you mean push accounting? Push accounting like you're trading accounting? I would not push accounting, like, because the market is just not as clean. No. Is a first trade win or loss? If loss, make it a negative, please. No. Each trade has its own. It has its own statistic. It would not make sense for me to just edit the one trade of the day. You know, how does that make sense? This is a different trade. It's a different time. It's a different setup, different time frame. You know, we need the statistics. Has July performance reached your ATH? Yes, I think, man, we are past ATH at this point. Right now, we're at selling, like, sellers are trying to come in. We push too much. This is now time for people who look for those volume pushes to sell. $150 remaining for funded prop to pass. Oh, nice. That doesn't sound too bad. It sounds like you can do it. You can do it. Oh, you mean on the sheet? What happened? Oh, thank you. Yeah, sorry, I forgot that. Yeah, all right, so we got it here. Okay, thanks. Yeah, that should be fixed now. No, I need to send accounting to the state. It's a report. Need to do it until 31st. But it's a pretty big report, 60 pages. Maybe we're going to see 3100. Oh, 3100. Yeah, 3100 all the way down here. Yeah, that'll be quite the melt off. That would be a huge drop. I remember 3100. We did I think, why did we do analysis? Was it 3100? No, I think we're looking at 3200. We're looking at, you know, initially we're looking at this zone. When price at first started retracing, if candles were to break below here, we could have corrected this range. But we had come down from this area here because it was consolidating, so it looked like it might have wanted to break below. But it still needed, a candlestick still needed to close that support. But you see, candlestick here didn't close that support, so market moved up again. Came down, looks like we got a little fakey here, and then came back up. I remember 3200. We're meant to break 3200, potentially to come down towards like 3000. But right now we're holding a, what psychological mark? 3300. Yeah, I think this is the area prices hovering around 3300. So if we dip below 3300, then we could see, you know, maybe like 3200. Come down to this point. It's about 1,000 pips. Yeah, we'll see how we hold 3,300. This is the gulag. We're trading literally the gulag here today. But in the gulag, you gotta be not greedy, you know? Like, this is the worst place to be greedy here. In the gulag. Because the buyers and sellers are gonna make money. It's just a question about the ranges. You know, the ranges are not gonna be too big. That's the only thing. And I think what people are trying to do this morning, they're all trying to catch this breakouts. They're trying to catch this breakout towards, you know, like 33.26, and market just kept whipping them. Close above, whip it back in, close above, whip it back in. Actually, it looks like it did one more over here. It did one more close above, candle above resistance by 33.20, and then whip back in. Yeah, so it doesn't want to correct this move. Or rather, let's say it's already corrected a good amount of that range. We take it from here to, yeah, it's pretty much like 65% of the range has been filled up. Even potentially more of that range has been filled up. So there's not too much. There's not too much like pips over here. I mean, in terms of pips, all right, you got about like, 30 pips. Got like 30 pips, but the range has already been mostly filled up. You traded in a no trade zone today? Yeah, I think like if I wanted to take a trade today, that was the only option for me so far. So it was either that I just sit on my hands and not do anything, or I give this trade here a chance. So I think it was a good trade, but it's a no trade zone. It's a no trade. This whole range here is like about 145 pips. 145 pips. I'm willing to pass my funded prop today. Nice. Yeah, we're gonna see what happens here today as well. Maybe you're gonna get some sell continuations, because yesterday we also did the same thing. It's literally exact same thing. Yesterday I took a sell here. I took a sell. This was a range that we filled up, and then price consolidated, and then it moved with the New York session decided to move. So besides, if I didn't take this trade here yesterday, then there would not be any other trades. It would just consolidate until New York time. So I think it's gonna be the same thing. It's just my one trade, and then consolidates, and then New York session maybe can move down again. So it just does this, and it's consolidating, and get some candlesticks start to break below later. So yeah, I think like if we can keep the same energy, then it should be good. It should be good to catch a move. If we can just keep that same energy. But quite a difficult week to say, I have to say. To be doing like prop firm challenges and that sort of thing. It's Shark Week. We got Powell speaking. We got a bunch of stuff. The tariffs on the 1st of August. We got non-farm payrolls this Friday. So man, you picked a week. You have picked a week to do that. What'll be nice? If you want to be like very safe, just wait till next week, because the market's going to give direction then. We're going to get a few things line up a bit more. So market should start giving some sort of direction. But at the same time, you have to accept missing moves this week. Or maybe you can pick the moves which are like very much in line with confluence, like the trend. Just to be safe. I'm the smallest guy in the All-Stars basketball group from last 30 years at school. Tallest guy is 6'11". My grandpa was born in 1910. He was 6'6", so a giant in his days. Oh, that's nice. What's the tallest girl? Isn't she like... I saw something like that recently. What was it, like 6 foot? Is it 6'12"? Oh, 7 feet. Tall people, like when I see tall people, it feels like they're moving in slow motion. Why do tall people look like they move in slow motion? Wow. Holy. Oh, 6'12" is 7 feet. Ah, so I was right. So I still win. I just got the... Yeah, I didn't know that. That kind of went over my head. Yeah, but anyway. So what are we going to do here? Let's see the news. Let's see what else is coming in. What else is coming in? XRP... Nothing here. Commodities intraday levels. Are we looking at 3,300 should be on here. We got 33.33. Hey, that was a break even from yesterday. 33.33 on the yesterday's trade. Let's see, from this area to this area is like 30 pips. Got a 30 pip range. Could be some buys above 33.17. Definitely no more sells. That area there looks really choppy. There's a nice buy here. This was what was this? Asia session. Break above a 33.14. Beautiful range. Nice little SMA confluence. Then little consolidation reversal. Clean range down towards this support. Back into the bottom of the range. Price close above 33.14 on this candle. Wait, it's better if I do this. Yeah, so you got this break here. Consolidation. Break below these lows. Came down. Bottom of the range. Nice little shotgun entry here. Oh, little breakout. Pretty tall wick though. Move back to the top of the range. Look below support. Got the sell down towards this next support. Yeah, range kind of day. There's a correlation. Let's go over to our indicator here and see. Currency strength meter. Oh, we got dollar strength. Strong dollar. So we should be seeing a weakness in gold. You saw that daily candlestick keeps reflipping. It's now, I think now it should be what? Bullish again? Yes, bullish 0.02. Will gold continue to move down during NY session? Let's shuffle the decks. Mediating the decks. And then we should be cleansing the decks. Alright, let's play some blackjack. Let's go this one. Hit. We got Papa Elon. Yet the presence of Papa Elon warns that external influences may sway the tides of sentiment. Thus, gold may indeed waver downward during the New York session, but with an air of uncertainty lingering. I think Papa Elon is onto something here. Today, powerful forces are on your side. Your interests may be positively affected by one word or tweet from out of the blue. Discipline, hard work, and self-control have brought you here. With the great power comes great responsibility. Thank you, Papa Elon. Thank you. Now we're gonna wait for Uncle Pow Pow to give his statements tomorrow. He's gonna be speaking here at 2 p.m. So usually that's more towards like the end of the day, I would like to say. End of the trading day. You know, that's well into the New York session. So this is gonna be much later on. Gonna have Uncle Pow Pow. Gonna speak on interest rates. You know, Trump makes it sound like he's planning on lowering interest rates. I already see on social media people think that he's gonna lower interest rates. You know, he's just putting the pressure on Powell over there. I don't think he's gonna lower interest rates. I feel like it's still too soon. If he lowers interest rates now, then that just means that Donald Trump there, like, he just pushed him to. Because, you know, it's kind of like out of the ordinary. Like, based off what he's been doing and his movements, it's not like his... I don't assume he's going to lower interest rates this early. Papa Smurf. What do you think about shorting now? Yeah, I mean, like, it's still respecting the highs, you know? It's like, this is 33.17. So, for price to move up, we need to at least clear around 33.18.64, like this wick here at the top. You see, it still respected that structure. But, you know, for me, the range was already filled on this first go. So it's like a bit more risky to hold it like this. So I think if you take a short, it's gonna be kind of risky. You want to be careful, or you're gonna get a whip. Because you're shorting at the bottom. It's like the bottom of the range, which has been somewhat filled up. Got a support level right here. What site do you use to get news on Powell and Trump speaking? This is called Forex Factory. Yeah, Forex Factory. And then we can go on Trump's personal schedule here and see what the guy's doing today. So, you know, right now I think, let's see, 6 p.m. That's p.m. 12:45 a.m. International Golf Links. What's he doing today? Participates in a grand opening ceremony of Trump International Golf Links Aberdeen. Departs from Aberdeen, Scotland, en route the White House. Oh, he's gonna be in Scotland today. President arrives in the White House. Oh, it looks like a pretty chill day here for Trump. So yeah, we're not expecting anything from him today. He's gonna play some golf, you know, travel the world a bit, come back to the White House, get his feet massaged as he waits for Powell to speak tomorrow. And then he's gonna say, Powell is a great guy, he's gonna lower interest rates. And then Powell's not gonna lower interest rates, and then he's gonna get angry again. Then he's gonna go on Twitter and he's gonna say, this guy is ruining everything. And that's gonna move the market. So that's my prediction of how the next couple of days are gonna go. And then gold is gonna move, you know, and we're gonna have a crazy freaky Friday. So let's look at the weekly candlestick. So we're gonna probably have gold. Man, this is a massive liquidity grab here on the previous weekly. Holy man, I didn't even realize this. The previous weekly came all the way up towards like 34.40 and then came back all the way down and closed bearish. Man, that is insane. Because see, it's like literally the same thing that usually happens on the LTF. You can see that's why I mean, like, there's no safe time frame. Higher time frame, you're gonna get whips just like the lower time frames. Because how can a higher time frame have all this volume here and still reflip and close bearish? You know, there's no such thing as a safe time frame. Not in these markets. Doesn't exist. I think I'm gonna trade very slowly on gold this week. I don't like the way it's moving. Yeah, you have to be very cautious. This is Shark Week. So if you get like a winning trade, you know, you should just be thankful for that winning trade. There has been a few clean setups though. There's a very nice one here from last week, Friday. Yeah, anyway, you know, it was a beautiful sell-off, little consolidation breakout, little textbook move. So if you watched the video from yesterday, that presentation from yesterday, we talk about certain structures in the market. And you know, this is one of those structures that we're in. It's that support and resistance structure. Yes, it's within a consolidation, but it's not a consolidation breakout. So you can see that dynamic type of structure is like a lot more difficult to trade. It's a lot more difficult because now we're in the trenches. But my forex factory, it says that federal funds rate is tomorrow afternoon, not today. Yes, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. We got it tomorrow here, Wednesday. My bad if I said today, but yeah, we got it tomorrow. And then we got NFP on Friday. Whoa, what about the ADP? When do we got ADP? Oh, tomorrow ADP as well. Ooh, tomorrow we're gonna have fireworks. Tomorrow you must just have your popcorns ready and just watch the market with people at 8:15 a.m. That's in New York time. You know the problem with people who trade in New York? Sometimes you can forget to look at these fundamentals and then you take a sell here, let's say, around like 8, and then all of a sudden the news comes out. And the New York session has the worst news. When we talk about volatile markets, out of the whole day, it's the New York session which you're most likely to get those kind of whips if you're not careful. Asia session's quiet, you know, pre-London's quiet, London is also quiet up until like New York Open. Hey, Luther. Good day. Good day. Hey, Lyrico Lemonade. Thank you for the sub. I haven't had lemonade in ages. Yeah, now we're coming back into the gulag here. Yeah, like one sell opportunity. Now maybe there's a buy here. It looks like distribution. Let's see. No, nothing. No consolidation breakouts there. Good day, good day. Even yearly can flip? That would be wild. Can we even get on the yearly? Let's get on the 12 months. Yo, imagine a yearly flip. Imagine a yearly fake out. That would be like a stock market crash. Or like, yeah, basically like a market crash. Sheesh. You know, yearly on gold has done what? Like, I think 30%? Man, look at this thing. Crazy. If I had a time machine, I'll just go back to 1970. Oh, that's too far back. But we got price action here from the 70s. We go in 1970 and then come back into the future. Make my investments down here and then come back into the future. That would be awesome. Damn, look at this. Gold was at $35 troy ounce in the 70s. $35 an ounce. And that is crazy. But you know, I guess like 30 bucks, $35 probably was a lot of money back then. I mean, that's a whole ounce of gold. And now an ounce of gold is $3,400. From $35 to $3,400. Insane. Man, you know, the power of compounding in trading is the best thing you can do, because, you know, a lot of the time people are trying to flip accounts, but instead of flipping and blowing an account, imagine making like, you know, $100 or $200. You're making like a 5% per week, and you just keep compounding that. Man, by the time you're in your, let's say, second year of trading, you're already going to be trading a much larger account size. You're going to be trading a much larger account size. The only difference is it's just going to take time. You know, it takes time. It's not the easiest thing to take a lot of big risk, but it's better than flipping accounts. At least some sort of consistent gains. Consistent gains, it like really adds up. You give yourself some time. You know, like it takes about, I'm going to be honest with you, like in this day and age, it takes about like 5 years to really see some success. Like if you're committed and you're locked in, a lot of people, you know, old school way of thinking is that obviously these things are going to take a much longer time. Also, that's like 9 to 5 mentalities, because, you know, you're going to kind of work your way up the corporate ladder. And that's going to take you, you know, a really long time. A lot of people looking at retiring around like 6 years old. I think that's a average retirement. And, you know, you basically work until then. But what I've seen, what I've witnessed, you know, is 5 years is usually when most of those goals can be achieved. You just have to give yourself a timeline. So when people ask me like, how long did it take me to learn how to trade? You would never compare yourself to anybody else, because you could do it faster. I knew people who did it within the first year who really found success in trading. Other people, maybe take them like, you know, 5 years. 5 years, now you're seeing them on social media, or like 6 years, you're seeing them now on social media. I'm not going to mention any names, and now they're making a lot of money, you know, so it's different. It's different for people, but this is really the sweet spot I've come to find in trading and in just business in general, is really locking in. In that 5-year mark, you're going to be way, 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 way up there, you know? Yeah. So you just got to keep going. You just got to play with time like that, because you can't cheat time. You cannot cheat time. The man who loves the journey will travel the furthest. If you're trying to cheat time, you're going to burn out. This is when you could start trading it freely. I would need to help. Oh, all Joshua's. We haven't seen any new Joshes in the chat in a while. Any positions today? Are we still looking for a sell position? Just took a sell here. But right now, there are no trades. Only maybe a buy above 33.17. That's the only thing that I'm seeing. That price can start moving up again. Back to the top of the range. So you're just kind of playing ping pong with gold right now. So it's at the highs, then, you know, some sells would be nice. If it's at the lows, maybe some buys would be nice. Price to break above here, continue moving upwards. I'm going to see what happens. I might give it another trade later on. I've taken like 2 trades today. I think I'll see if I can take a 3rd trade. We'll see what happens. What if the chains and whips excite us? Go for it. Go for it. I mean, it's your money. I love to protect my money. You know, like, if I can avoid this, I would prefer to just avoid this. You know, entirely. Entirely, I prefer to avoid this. I didn't have to take this trade here today. But I saw there was still a stronger probability that price would have moved down than would have moved up. You know, because especially the way, because I've been looking at how price has been behaving here since the pre-London session. I've just been monitoring to see like how it's really been struggling to move up here. So this, for me, since I've been looking at the charts, it seemed like price was definitely not going to break above these areas. But you know, it's different than when you come onto the chart and let's say you did not watch the progress here, then you don't, I guess it just feels a bit different just looking at it in hindsight than if you're watching it happening the whole time. Then you're like, wow, these buyers, they're really struggling to move up there. Hit B, gotta enjoy Greek yogurt now. Oh, nice. Yeah, I already had my Greek yogurt as well. Man, it's crazy. I found an ice cream last week that had 24 grams of protein per 100 grams of ice cream. I was like, how is that even possible? No, I think it was like 27. Yeah, it was like, I think about 27 grams of protein. That's so much protein. Now, only 100 gram of ice cream. Man, that's the ultimate snack. Yeah, I sent it. It was about 27.47 grams of protein for 100 grams. Like, how is that even possible? And you know, the total fat as well is not bad. The fat's like 8.45. Carbs are like 9. Sugar's like 6 grams. We got some vitamin A, vitamin C in there. Insane. Insane. But the gains are coming in nice. Oh, maybe you can't see it so well. Look at this gains. Now benching 40 kgs benching. You know, I think, you know, when you're training, it's not even about how much you're lifting necessarily, because, you know, you could lift for strength or you could be lifting for hypertrophy. Because like people who just lift for strength, they maybe don't do as much volume as somebody who doesn't do it for strength. So you can find someone in the gym lift even stronger than you, but they're going to look smaller than you. So I'm really doing it for muscle hypertrophy. But you know, 40 kg is not bad. It's not bad. Making progress. Yeah, to be honest with you, chat, I'm not much of a gym person, but this is something that I've been locking into. Just like trading, it's I've set a challenge, a mental challenge for myself. You know, it's just like a, but it's actually it's not as difficult once you actually get the ball rolling. I would say once you nail the diet part, like, and you get some consistency and you're doing it properly per like the scientific methods and everything, you really do see progress. You know, if you're doing it very consciously, it's a lot more different than if you're just, you know, randomly doing it without a plan. Just like if you're randomly trading without a plan, you might not be able to see that consistency, and that's going to demotivate you. You know, if you're not like tracking it somewhat like this, whenever you don't track something, you can never know like if you're doing it correct, or maybe you're gonna hit some drawdown times, and you know that can really discourage you from the overall picture and the progress that you've already made. So, you know, like every day you're just tracking everything and you're just trying to get 1% better. Like literally, you've heard it before so many times, but that's what it is. Like just 1% better each day really adds up. It makes it much easier for later on. Like, so today, if you took this sell and, you know, it was a good sell, maybe you had some drawdown from this sell, then you can see what next time that you could have done differently. You know, maybe here you had a problem with greed. So again, going back to the slides from yesterday, you know, maybe you have some of those pitfalls. We spoke about fear, greed, analysis paralysis, and something else, can't remember. But we spoke about a few things over there. And I think, you know, this could have been a greed thing. Or this would not be an exit in early thing. You know, there's a difference. You have to differentiate between exiting early and greed. Because when you're exiting early, you're exiting a trade which has a really good potential to run. Correct? Like this trade over here, if you're honest with yourself, it doesn't have a good potential to run. And if it ran, then that would have been like, you know, maybe you catch like a lucky trade. Because, you know, price had already come down, filled up the range, and it's still within a sideways movement. So, you know, you're trading what you see, not what you feel. Maybe what you feel is that price could actually run because of these big dumps over here. You know, but we're not in a... First of all, the timing is a bit off, because this is London time, and London time has been having a lower probability for runners. So if this is like a pre-NY time, then maybe a move like this can continue to push down, because that would mean that price was consolidating the whole time up until pre-NY, where a move is bound to happen. So it does increase the probabilities a bit more. The 1 hour has reflipped. Oh yes, we're getting hourly candle here about a reflip. It's really stuck, and you know, when the market is stuck like this, it can become very dangerous. You got support, resistance. You know, this is a sharky environment. Yeah, hourlies don't have move. You see, it doesn't have space to move. Resistance up here, support down over here. So it is crazy. Getting a winning trade here, chat, it's not easy. This is not straightforward. So I hope, like, actually, you know, this week so far has not been straightforward. Even yesterday's trade required a bit of like an aggressive play to cash this. So as here today, and then you're gonna wait till pre-New York time. Hopefully then it starts to move a bit more. Hey, what's up, Space? Nice to see you back in here, sir. Yes, sir. It's been long. Been a minute. No. Approaching TP on BTC USD. Oh, look at this sniper entry here. Cooking as always. Glad to hear it. An accumulation zone broke previous highs. SMA confluence. Let's go by. TP at the top of the range, but closed at 65%. Yeah, this was the gold buy. Yeah, this was a pre-London gold buy. I took my gold buy was right over here, but there was one I should have taken down here, but I wasn't on the chart. If I took the first one, then, you know, price could have followed through quite nicely for me. I took the second one here. Look at buy right here. Price moved up, came down, moved up, and then the hourly candlestick opened, and then the hourly candle created a strong bottom wick over there. But yeah, the first buys were solid. Took profit at 65. Oh, nice. 65. Ruben, you are now level 11. You've earned the beginner level 11 role. Let's go, Ruben. Let's go. Just post more charts and, you know, then you're going to level up here. And then you can join our GTA 6 Discord channel, exclusive Discord channel, where we're going to do a lot of exclusive things. Got into the trade too early during the pre-London. Price moved back into consolidation, then tracked back. But I chose to be patient for it to drop back down, so I closed small profit. Oh, these are some really tight stop losses here. What are you trading? Bitcoin. Yeah, I'd love to get some kind of a sell entry like this. This is really clean. Loads of range here on the left-hand side. It would even be better if price was overall, which it has been as well, to be fair, like moving downwards. And then you get the support and resistance. So again, just like the slides that we did yesterday. So you get this kind of dynamic price action. It's really nice with the daily direction. How's the data looking? Track record? It's pretty good, man. This is my best month of the... It's my best month in a while. But, you know, I took a lot of trades over here. Up like 44%, 45%. But I took like 47 trades. You know, I've been trading like crazy this month. Everybody went on vacation. I said, all right then. I'm not going to go on vacation. I'm just going to go harder then. You know, I'm just going to go hard. Market was also good. Market was moving somewhat. So that was also nice. Because the summer months, you know, sometimes summer months are kind of quiet. But, you know, when I was leading into July, I was thinking about last year. Because, you know, last year was the same thing. June was quiet for me. I got like, oh, June was actually about like 13%. And then I remember July was better. July was back to the normal, like, you know, 19, 20%. So I was like, okay, you know, July stats look pretty damn good. Look at the streak here I got in July last year. This was a 16 win streak in July last year. So I was like, man, you know what? This time, let me try something. Oh, and look at August. Holy. Man, we need an August like this again. Look at August. I took 2 losses in August. Man, that is crazy. I need... Oh, imagine if it was a perfect streak. This was about 23 trades in August. Crazy. Imagine a perfect streak. You know, this is using good risk management. This is none of that massive drawdown, martingaling stuff. You know, people who do that, they can get like, you know, 15 winning trades, 20 winning trades. The problem is when they take a losing trade, you know, it's going to be a big loss. But damn, this is crazy. August was pretty good. So yeah, I think July and August somehow just felt really like I could get away with something here. September. The ones I'm very cautious about is the beginning of the years. I don't know, beginning of the year can be quite choppy for me. See, this was last year. It can be quite choppy. Then it opens up as the quarterly candlesticks are opening up. You know, your stats should reflect the... It should reflect the market conditions, your stats. Because, you know, when the markets are not doing well, overall, you should be getting more reds. And when markets are doing well, it should start somewhat opening up a bit more. And I've noticed the markets do tend to warm up, like past the first quarterly candlestick closure. It does get a little bit better. If I was as big as them, I'd be lifting at least double what they lift. 100% here, my genetics are mad compared to the locals. The huge guys are only lifting double what I lift, and I go very rarely. Oh, yeah, for sure. Imagine now you lived in somewhere like, what's that, like Fiji. That was big guys. Got the goal. I mean, you see The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Man, that guy is huge. Where's Dwayne Johnson is from Hawaii, I believe, right? Where is Dwayne Johnson from? Yeah, it should be. It says from the States. But I think he lived in Hawaii when he was a kid. But man, this guy's pretty big. But you know, he has a, what is it recently that happened with Dwayne Johnson? He has some kind of problem because of the steroid use. Like some heart problems. I should never use it, man. This guy never admits it. He never admits it. Dwayne Johnson's a bit of a pathological liar. You know, if you ever like watch his In-N-Out skits, every year he goes to In-N-Out, he buys a burger and says that's his first time in In-N-Out. And he's very kind of PR-y, you know, he's like a PR type of machine. Like he does things so in a way that companies like him. You know, it's kind of like a puppet. That's the word on the street. And he lies about his steroid use. Man, people on social media lie so much about these things. Guy looks better in his... How old is Dwayne Johnson? 50? Man looks better in his 50s than he ever did in his 20s or 30s. You know? Mixed race genetics, eh? Very lucky. Yeah, those Hawaiian guys are strong. And Iceland. But I may only be thinking that because of the mountain. Okay, but look at this. We got price now is breaking above a 33.18. It should have some legs here to move up towards a 33.21. Yeah, speaking about Dwayne Johnson, man, Hulk Hogan died the other day. That kind of felt a bit surreal, man. Like end of an era. Hulk Hogan. Holy. Man, I feel like people who are born in the much later years, they just basically missed everything in life. They missed WWE. They missed Michael Jackson, you know, even towards the end over there. They missed the eras, I guess, of like most of these famous people. 50 Cent, Nicki Minaj, Eminem, Machine Gun Kelly. Like, they literally missed the whole story. If you're born, like, you know, much later on. Kind of sucks. Because I don't know who you look up to. Who do people look up to nowadays? Even Katy Perry. You don't miss Katy Perry's prime. She's kind of like wilding out now. Man, I wonder what people look up to nowadays. There's not a lot of people to look up to like back in the day. Look at this. The range here is getting filled up now. It's just pushed up about, you know, like 17 pips here. Heading towards 33.22. Wasn't Hulk Hogan a crazy racist? I have no idea. I would not be surprised. But, you know, he does hold some sentimental value. He's like, you know, sentimental for those days. He could have been. No idea. Maybe not. You know, who knows? Never judge a book by its cover. Imagine growing up with Michael Jackson's fame. That's the maddest one. Yes. No one is ever going to be as famous as Michael Jackson was. Like, it's never gonna happen. Man, that guy used to have these concerts, people would be literally passing out and he would not even do anything. You see that one video where he jumps on stage? He does nothing for like a whole 2-3 minutes or something like that. And people are literally fainting. And he does nothing. Then he takes off his shades slowly. Man, there's never gonna be a famous guy like that. And you know, the reason that there's never going to be a famous guy like that is because of social media. So, you know, like back in those days, celebrities were more like, because you didn't know much about them. You didn't know about their lives. You know, they didn't share much. There was not a lot of out there. So people really fantasized a lot about their lives and everything. So, you know, they were like way more famous. But nowadays, man, nowadays you're going to see them on a day-to-day basis. You're going to see Drake get BBL abs. You're going to see them on social media. So that allure, that mystery is gone. So there's never ever going to be anybody as famous as Michael Jackson again. Unless Jesus comes back. You know, like, because you know, it's pretty much it. It's done now. Even Bob Marley, yeah, Bob Marley. The Bob Marley was really nice. The Bob Marley movie was pretty good. I did enjoy it. They made it really nice. Because I never really knew much about his history, so it's kind of nice to see that movie. I mean, I knew a little bit, but yeah, the movie was done great. Man, I think, you know, gold breaking above 33.18. Hopefully, man, that could start a distribution. But you know, what we've previously been seeing is price coming down. Like it keeps breaking, coming down, breaking, coming down. This is the next break. So question is, can this be the break that initiates the move up? You know, can we finally break outside of this range so we can distribute above? And then, you know, we gotta have some targets here. The first speed bump is 33.25. Ooh. It does look quite nice. Let me see on the 1 minute. 1 minute little accumulation breakout here too. Nice little stop below here. This is about, you know, like 16 pips. Little accumulation breakout confirmation with a swing entry model. Let me see what stops on the swing entry. Oh, the stops on the swing entry would have been big though. So it'd have to be an accumulation break. See, swing entry stops here. Nice. It's coming out from that distribution. You can always look at this. Whenever you see price move like this, always thinking, where are the buys coming in from, you know? And then you can investigate. You can investigate the lower time frames. Then you're going to see like there's some sort of entry model here. So again, it's just like the presentation from yesterday. Remember we spoke about this? You know, we spoke about how we have those two structures. So this is the first one here. So this is pretty nice. Nice distributing above. Beautiful. Shall we short now, Vic? No. I think, man, shorting now is a bad idea because, you know, price is moving upwards. I don't look till now, but the hourly is also making new higher highs. Yeah, hourly is also making higher highs, pulling them up. Higher highs pulling up. So it's like, maybe this is finally the one. Imagine the amount of whips you would take before actually catching this breakout. If you've been looking for it, like, let's say during the Asia. So many times price came down. Look at this. In hindsight, it's always, you know, like, it's always easy to catch the real move. It says, I have a friend with the exact issue. He has great days and really bad ones. I told him just draw your setups and start tracking it and backtesting, but he still keeps doing the same thing. He uses Fibbo and SMAs, etc. It does work for him, but it gets to a point after big profit, he just loses the account, blows the account because no strategy to fix a stop loss. He just keeps moving as sell and scaling losing trades. Yes, man. Like that's the thing. If you don't come into trading with a risk management approach first, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You know, in the end, it's just not going to work. It's always risk first. At least have a strategy for risk before anything else. You know, not a strategy for profit. And I think that's one thing that I can say about my journey that I think is different from a lot of people's journey is because when I started with a risk first approach. Because, you know, I did a lot of a due diligence before getting into trading. So I was looking at this and, you know, I got some really good advice here that what you're trying to do is you're trying to lose slow in the beginning so you can start making it later. So yeah, I put like, you know, $500 and I lost very slow, 1% per trade. And, you know, it's really not that hard. It is not rocket science to use the right lot sizing. And I think, man, once you take that approach, it's a lot better. Because I don't think anybody likes to lose money. We should respect money. We should be indifferent from it. You know, don't get too attached to it, but also just have some respect for it. Wow, look at this, man. Just pushing up here. Still pushing up. 5-minute candlestick here just moved up like, yo, 37 pips. That's a nice buy here, sir. Oh no, this is an FEG. I thought this was a break even. Waiting for a retracement. Where'd you get your first capital for trading and how much was it? That was just like capital that, you know, you can save up capital. You know, work. I was working a job, so I had some money. And it was just about like 500 bucks. It was not a lot. It was just to test the waters. I wanted to have some skin in the game because, you know, the demo, when you trade demo for some time, it doesn't feel real. So I wanted to make it feel real. It didn't matter how much it was. I was risking, I think at the time, around maybe 10 to 20, $25 a trade. You know, but then, you know, I would look at keeping my risk very small. I was trying to reduce as much of it as possible and just stick to the lower ends. And if I took, let's say, too many losses, then I would have to really go back. So there's a system where it's like, if I was seeing improvement, I would increase my lot size gradually. But if I were to see like a certain losing, then I would bring myself back down. Because, you know, I needed to protect the account. And then every now and then, obviously, you're going to redeposit into the account. You're going to redeposit. But it's still the same mentality I have today, you know. It's literally the same thing. That's why I'm saying the foundation is really important. Because I'm cut from this cloth of risk management. And, you know, every time I see like some kind of drawdown, I'm always taking myself back. You know, if I see like 3 losing streak, 4 losing streak, I take myself back and then reevaluate like what's going on here. Is it the market conditions? Is it my strategy? You know, what's not working? Because you always need to be able to adapt and be flexible. But yeah, it's pretty nice to see this little breakout here. Man, that accumulation, that distribution here, people are getting paid out. Looks like it was a buy. That's the cleanest. There was one sell over here too. Like this was when we were before getting onto stream. Yeah, this was shortly before the London session opened. There's a really nice sell-off here too. There's a nice sell-off. We caught the tail end of this. And that was a real inception of the move. Because, you know, like whenever you look at the market and you see these big moves, you know, it's crazy people don't like the lower time frames, but it all starts from the lower time frames. These whole massive moves. This could be a whole daily move. You know, a whole daily move here starting from the LTF as low as a 1-minute candlesticks. You know, it's insane. It's insane. When I started to trade, nobody was looking at these lower time frames. Or maybe that was my impression, but like a lot of the big names were not looking at these lower time frames. Everybody catch the bigger time frames. You know? But I think nowadays a lot more people are looking at the lower time frames. Even up down towards seconds chart. But I think, you know, the seconds chart is too low of a time frame. Because it doesn't make sense at that point. Your stops are going to be like, you know, 2 pips. You might be seeing like 2 pips stop loss. At least on the 1 minute, there's a balance in between 1 minute sometimes structure and like the 5 minute and other higher time frame levels of support resistance. Like you see here, there was a higher time frame level of resistance, a 1 minute consolidation. Let's see anything on the 5 minute doji candle. No doji candle. Yeah, sometimes you get doji candle confluences. So anything below the 1 minute can get like quite aggressive. But man, this is now heading up here towards like maybe 33.30. Can break 33.30. There's another range up here. They're like 35 pips. Sharks? Yeah, we got sharks. Man, now we're leaving the gulag though. So this is really nice to see. I've been sick a couple of days. I hope everything's well. Oh, what's up, trading? What's wrong? You got a cold or something or what? Hope you get better soon. Man, the worst thing is being sick. I hate being sick. You know, whenever you're sick, it just puts you out of the game, you know? You just feel so different. Like if you're sick or you're injured, man, those are the 2 things I try and avoid as much as possible. It just puts you out of the game for some time. I used to trade profits, but I was just blowing them. I opened a real account with small money and it's going better. No more gambling as it gets with profit. Yeah, I think that's nice. The prop firm will definitely make you take bigger risk. If you watch people who trade prop firms, it's either a blow or a win. So, you know, it's all like trying to pass combines and all these things. They're either gonna blow their account or they're gonna pass their combine or whatever it is. That's what I've noticed is a trend with prop firm challenges. Nobody trades prop firm consistently. They're always blowing it, passing it quickly, maybe getting a payout, then blowing it, getting another account. You know, if you're actually a live streamer, then I think a prop firm business will be perfect for you. You know, you can live stream and then you can get all these free accounts because they'll say, hey, you know, like we're gonna give you a free some from free accounts and you're gonna put your affiliate link in the description. So it's actually a hack. If you're a live streamer, you can get a few prop firm challenges. Every day I get a request from a prop firm that wants to liaise and they're gonna offer me a prop firm. So you're gonna get so many of those prop firms and you can keep blowing them and maybe get a few payouts. But you know, there's nothing sustainable about that. But it is an interesting hack. Because there are many prop firms nowadays. There are a shit ton of them. So you could probably get, you know, quite a few. When I miss a good trade, no worries, sir. Like, there's always a trade around the corner. The market is abundant of trades. If you relied on one trade, you know, like, what kind of career is that anyway? Just one trade. You know, it's not like you miss a black swan event. There will always be another trade. So you see, like, price is moving up here. You're going to get another trade soon. It's creating an opportunity. So whenever you miss a trade, just think about it this way. Price is creating you an opportunity for the next trade. And sometimes you don't even miss the trades. You know, sometimes I've seen situations where a price will retest the zones, the previous zones before, again, like, let's say you take a buy over here, for example, right? You say, yo, man, I missed this buy. But look at this, price came back in and then it still made that buy happen. So this is just like an example to show you a visualization of you never miss moves in the market. Whether you would get this re-entry or not, you know, that's up to you, but you never really miss moves in the market. And if it's not a re-entry like this, then it's going to be another move just around the corner. The next trade is always around the corner. So if you take like a win here or a loss here, don't worry about it too much because the next trade is around the corner. The thing you avoid in trading is blowing your account or taking too much of a big hit. Because if you're looking at your calendar days, you're going to have so many trades taken in a year. The only thing, your only job as a trader is to manage your risk. Out of all of these days, your only job is to not blow their account. Is to survive each quarter and at least try and make some kind of percentage gains. You know, and if you can consistently do that, you can even get a job. You can even get hired by a hedge fund. If you have consistent results, let's say you're even making like 5% per month, you know, 2% per month, you're still a profitable trader. You know, you can still use that evidence. You know, so don't get too banged up about the percentages, about needing to always excel so much because, you know, some traders, they maybe can make 10% a month. Other traders, 20% a month. Other traders, they even do less than 10% per month. You know, but at the end of the day, it's like they have the skill to be profitable. Maybe it's just their strategy that has a lower percentage return, but they can just increase their risk. So if they're getting like 5% a month, you know, maybe they can start risking a bit more, and that's easily 10%. That could easily be 15. That could easily be 20. You know, but it depends on the strategy. It depends on the hit rate, the losing streaks, the winning streaks, a bunch of stuff. I got a cold after going to the beach. My cleaner just kicked me out of my office. So watching on the balcony with a ciggy and a phone now. Oh, man, the beach. Last time I was on the beach, I got attacked by jellyfish. And then this beach guy came to my rescue with some aloe vera. And then after that, he asked me for money. By the way, guys, I'm gonna have a baby boy. That's my biggest... Oh, your biggest trade ever. Wow, congratulations, sir. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Have you watched The Dictator? No, a kind of messed up joke that came to my head. When he's like, is it a boy or an abortion? But yeah, congratulations. That's really nice. I mean, for a guy, it's nice to have a baby boy because it's like, obviously with a baby girl, you can still have baby girl, of course, but I think I would want my first child to be a boy. I would appreciate if it was a boy, but if it was a girl, you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's no big deal. So, man, well done. Are we still looking for a sell position? No, I think price is moving up here. So you can't take a sell. That is awesome. Bro is like, here's some aloe vera, pay me. Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, the beach guys, they kind of know these things that happens to tourists, I feel, and they know exactly what to do. Because, like, it was just a funny coincidence there, you know? Like, I just came out, man, I was all red. My whole body was red. And kind of like, it was kind of rashy and stuff like that. And, you know, they usually say with jellyfish, you can actually pee on yourself, apparently. If it's like a small one on your hand or something, apparently that works to neutralize the venom. But yeah, it was a pretty big one. It was a pretty big jellyfish wrapped around my whole body over there. And then he came out of the freaking bushes. He found some aloe vera, you know, and it kind of helped. So it was nice. But you know, it's their kind of like hustle. Then whenever we go on vacation, you know, these guys, they always have like they're always gonna have these hustles. Always got these hustles, but you know, it's better than nothing. Man, the ocean is a crazy place. Because you know the place I was swimming, man, the bitch guy was telling me like a week ago, there was a guy there who had drowned. Because it's kind of big. It's kind of a surf area. And the place where I got stung by the jellyfish was kind of deep. It was a deep area. The ocean is mad crazy. Yeah, that's true. I have a baby girl. I don't know what is better because I absolutely love her. The most important comes with no health issues. Yeah, exactly. That's the most important. That's the most important. As a nurse, let me tell you, my friend, stop peeing on your wound. Don't drink it. Don't look at it. It's just nasty. Have you not watched Bear Grylls? When you need to survive, you gotta drink that urine. You are going to drink it if you need to survive. And if you're attacked by some animal and that's your only remedy, then you know you gotta use that. But if you're not peeing on your wound, you know what else helps? Saliva. Like, your human saliva is pretty good at neutralizing as well, to some extent. You know, it's like small cut or something like that. Let 100p on the table here. Ooh, you closed too early? Because the move has happened. This was the buy move. The next buy move is going to come above a 33.30. Then, you know, price can move up here another 36 pips. That's a much higher time frame move because these candlesticks are pretty far away. You got to spit on that thing. Yeah. Spit on that thing. It's a shame, man. It's a shame that she scammed her audience like that with that Bitcoin thing, huh? Man, she completely fell off. Crazy. Man, the internet is so crazy. It's so crazy. I wonder how people like Logan Paul survived that whole Japanese thing where he was making fun of the suicide forests. Let's see over here. You got support here on a GJ. You got support by 197. Yes, 197,970. And then a range below here. This is 13 pip range, but you know it's GJ. This is quite common for GJ. And you got price consolidating here as well. It's a no trade zone. You know what I miss? I miss bigger ranges on gold. Because right now I do want to hold like trades a bit longer, but I can't hold. You must just take what the market gives you. So if the market was just going to give me like 7 pips, 26 over here, then that is what it is. The only thing I see holding is the accumulation breakouts, maybe on the 1 minute. That would have been a nice hold with clean range over here on the 5 minute. Man, but what can you do? People say girls are more attached to the dad and boy to the mother. She's really attached with me. Yes, that's true. See on the 30 minute here. Holy, this 30 minute candlestick's like, how much? 130 pips. Sheesh. Yeah, I had to act aggressively. I mean, to break out of this zone, it needed volume. So this is kind of like accumulation breakout, but on the 30 minute time frame perspective. And it's more of like a retracement. It didn't break. I actually thought this could break the lows during pre-New York, but it looks like it broke above the highs. 33.22. Small retracement. I mean, we have been moving down for like the previous days. It's like 4 days. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, previous 4 days have been moving down. So Goldie was due for some kind of retracement. But I don't think the sells are over yet though. I still believe the sell setups could still be, you know, just around the corner here. Especially by 33.30 if we create a support. Beautiful range to correct. But like 138 pips. Whereas GJ is still kind of getting ready here. The daily candlestick is down negative 0.12%. It looks like it's weakening. I thought this would be the accumulation to break above 200, but it seems like it can't get above 200 on GJ. So it looks like we're getting a bit lethargic here in a sense, where like, you know, price is going to come down. Start breaking that accumulation. So in that case, you know, the sells below support here actually look pretty nice. Those actually look quite nice. Based off what the daily is doing and how that daily looks like it's struggling to move up. Yeah, I think if we break support, then we can move down. You know, why not? It's the same thing like the gold sells here. If we couldn't move upwards, then I think there's a probability at least we could push down towards like some kind of support there. And you know, price paid off the sellers and then moved up again. Oh, why does Nightbot keep attacking you, sir? Was timed out by Nightbot. I still can't believe she... Oh, scammed everyone. Everyone's so funny. Damn right. Oh, because you're literally breaking the rules. Some of the rules here. As a nurse, let me tell you, my friend, stop peeing on your wound. Man, what does Nightbot have against Frank? Let's see where Nightbot is on top fans. Is it coming for the throne today? Looks a bit aggressive here. No, it's not coming for the throne. We still got Woods at the top as always. Then we got Architect and Tall Trader third. No, Architect's fourth. I can't see that second name. Yeah, I'm a talker. Maybe Nightbot doesn't want you at the top of the leaderboard. Yeah, Ellie. Is that Ellie? Yeah, it is Ellie. So that's what I'm thinking here, chat. Maybe potential retracement soon to come on gold. We're halfway into the hourly candlestick. It's already had one move. That one move for me at least was off that accumulation break. See, like every candle, hourly candle is gonna give you some kind of probability for a scalp. TFX concepts. So you know this was a sell here, and that was an accumulation buy here. Ely. It's about to break the support. Let's at least break 33.26. Let me see what GJ is doing. Yeah, GJ is coming down here too. Oh. Man, there's no job like trading, huh guys? Every day is literally survival. Kill what you eat. Eat what you kill. Yeah, exactly. Eat what you kill. There is no job like trading. Because there's no salary at the end of the day. But you know, at the same time, it's when the markets are moving, it's really good. When there's no sharks in the water, it is very nice. Because you can get a lot more of the time winning trades. But it's much easier to survive trading if you take less trades. You know, if you think about it from a survival point of view, you want to take less risk. You know, you only go hunting once. Also, like when you think about how hunters in the wild go hunting, they only go hunting, you know, maybe they go hunting once. If they catch like something really good, they're just gonna call it a day there. They're not gonna keep over hunting. You know, if you catch yourself something really nice, you're not gonna keep over hunting. Only time I think hunters hunt for longer is they're catching like these smaller rodents, right? Like these little small rodents here and there. But even then, you know, you still gotta conserve your energy. Can't be out there all day. So trading is like hunting. You know, if you get yourself like a nice trade, let's say if you're up 1% for the day, man, that's a good catch. You know, just call it a day at that point. And go out tomorrow again. Why take the risk? You know, why take the risk? Hunting's a lot of patience as well. You know, any kind of hunting, you got fishing as well. It's called fishing, not catching. So you got to go out there, you got to fish, you got to wait, catch a few fish, and that's it. I think, you know, it's the same thing as like people who love to fish. They're obviously going to catch a lot more fish, correct? They're going to enjoy the sport and they're going to catch what they want to catch. But people who don't enjoy fishing, then, you know, it's just like you got that mindset of man, I gotta rush this process. I gotta catch my fish right now, you know. And that kind of like, it kind of ruins the whole thing, correct? You're not gonna be able to execute properly. So just like in trading, if you're okay with waiting, just imagine yourself like fishing. If you're okay with waiting, then you catch the moves, you catch the fish. If you're not okay with waiting, then you know, what are we doing here? You're just gonna hate this profession because majority of it is just waiting. Actually, the better it is waiting, you get the best trades. Honestly, like the ones which come to you easy and naturally, you get those really good trades. But I see right over here, we had two accumulations. We actually had one break here. Stop loss. I think the stop loss could have been below here. Or even here. Oh, that's pretty big. Let's say below support. Got one sell. I mean, one buy. One buy, one sell. Two accumulations back to back. One sell. And then again, it's just like waiting, you know, you're just waiting, you're fishing, you're throwing your line in and just seeing whatever catches. And then you got one buy over here. Another buy. You know, that's why, like, if you really watch yesterday's video, if you wait for the signal, just wait for a clear signal, you're gonna have better odds at not impulse trading, not necessarily taking these impulsive moves. Just wait for a clear signal, like something that really stands out to you. You know, like you see this little accumulation here, beautiful. Break above the highs, upwards. This one here, beautiful. You can see it, clearly see it. Break below the lows, distribute to the downside. And also right over here, you can also see it. Very nice. Very nice little sideways movement here. You see, it stands out from the regular price action. That's distribution, this distribution. And then you got some swings over here. You got this kind of V-shaped reversals, which you sometimes might mistake as well for accumulations, but it's not the cleanest setup. Correct? These are not the cleanest setups. Also here, there's nothing too clean about this, but this looks a lot more structurally speaking. It looks much better sideways movement here, much better sideways movement here, much better sideways movement here. And if you can have that perspective of just being okay with just sitting on your hands, you get these moves which are a lot more cleaner for you. But these are the easier ones. There are different variations of those consolidation plays. Those are more aggressive, and I think they require like higher time frame analysis as well, to see what's the probability of price doing a certain thing over the other thing. Also kind of depends on what price has been doing. So you can use like additional confluences. Alright, it's a little fake out situation here, for example. Price broke below support. So this is a little fake out confluence. You have resistance here and you got some clean ranges. So if you, for example, see that price is moving sideways, because we overall have been moving sideways, and we're coming down from this area at the bottom of the range, now creating fake outs at the bottom with some clean traffic on the left hand side, then you know this is like, that's why we spoke about this. That's why even before the move happened, I said buys above, like, you know, 33.18. There's just a higher chance price moves up if you're tracking where the animal is coming from. You know, you're tracking where did it go. All right, so this animal here, it went to the watering hole. So, you know, if it went to the watering hole and it didn't find any water here, you know there's another watering hole all the way back over here. So, you know, maybe it's going to come back there. And then look at this. Then it came all the way back here. So you got to know what you're hunting. Look at this. You see price created a support. Like, okay, you know, if price breaks below 33.26, I think there's a pretty good chance that some of this range here gets cleaned up. I also still like the idea, but the thing is the daily candlestick is bullish now. It's up 0.36%. It's still up 0.36%. We just feel like it's a little bit of a small range here. Price broke above. You know, this was the range right here in the middle that price was looking to fill up. So we fill that zone up. Whether price breaks above this area here, that's 33.30. Man, I think that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for price to break that. You know, because the overall volume is moving down. And I feel like that's going to be a very key area that if it broke this level here, it would have to move a lot more upwards. You know, it has like a whole 30-35 pip range over there. So I still think the sells are pretty decent. Sells pretty decent with the overall bearish momentum there. You know, it takes a lot of effort for price to make these moves. Hey, that's a beautiful like 75 pip range that got filled up. See, this has been filled up now. So, you know, price can come down. A moment of silence for Sir Joshua. Oh, there's a crocodile in the first water hole, so it jumped up and ran. Yeah, there's a croc in there. Now you see where this one's going. Where's this animal here gonna go? Because you see, we've hit resistance. So, you know, it came up there and said, oh, maybe there's a tree that fell on the road. So it's got to find another way around. So if it wants to go back above this area here, it's got to find another way around. So maybe it's going to retrace first. And then it's going to find its way back up here somehow. But we still want to see it retrace first. We still want to see it move down first. Nice little 20 pip drop so far. Oh, beautiful. Another accumulation here. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Also with the context of price hitting the resistance on the left-hand side. Already filling up that range. Having a distribution all the way from here. Another one right here. Break below structure. Come down. See, hourly candlestick should be... Yeah, it's just pulling back. We also got hourly 50 SMA here by 33.29. Tapped into hourly 50 SMA. So yeah, a few things lining up there. And it creates another support and then re-breaks the lows to continue moving down again. I wouldn't say just because it broke above 33.21 we're bullish. This is like not enough structure yet. We've just moved from one gulag, potentially moving to the next gulag. It's going to be above this level. So these are like the zones, you know, you kind of want to think about trading in terms of these zones. So we're no longer in this area here. We've stepped it up a notch. So it's trying to make higher highs, but it's still not done anything too significant. Daily candlesticks were overall bearish the previous days. So yeah, would not be surprised to see gold dump later on. But that's it. That's all that. Oh, gold. GJ here is rejecting. GJ needs to break above a 198, say 198 200, 198 200-ish. Some nice range here about like, you know, 10 pips up towards the resistance. But it's accumulating. So, you know, the thing with GJ, it hasn't had a move yet. So a lot of people are waiting on GJ. So if you're trading GJ, this has still not done anything yet. People are going to wait for this thing to like either break above like this or start breaking below support. So you haven't missed the train or the bus. This is actually in the bus station. It's getting all the passengers in before it starts to have its move. Got to distribute either one of these two directions. So we're essentially at a point A right now. And if it breaks above, then, you know, I think this would be at a volume-based play. I would personally take it like at the break of this wick. If I'm expecting that volume is to push price beyond these levels to continue moving upwards. Because that's why sometimes price will consolidate. It will consolidate so it can actually get through these levels here. And then distribute through nicely. So I think that'll look good. I mean, the daily looks bearish though. But I'm not sure what the daily wants to do yet. I do want to see the daily at 200. So, you know, it's in this kind of like interesting area here where you got like a few wicks. You got a few wicks. The daily can still reflip and then respect this zone. Close back above this area. It's consolidation. I don't see a reason why it would consolidate here and not move above 200. You know, I feel like that's a psychological mark that it wants to hit. Or trade above. Just waiting at the station, eh? The life of a trader, yes. So waiting at the station here. Maybe even waiting for candlestick to close above resistances. Just a trader waiting for a candle closure above resistance. Stops to 25.2 BE. Sometimes you get on the bus going the wrong way. Make sure you get off at the next stop. Goldie's still trying to make its way down. Oh, nice. 5,300. 344. Crazy chart work. More waves to come. Trump new trade standard takes shape with 15% tariff deal. A deal with Japan and a potential deal with Europe follow months of uncertainty and will likely raise prices while offering a bit of clarity for global trade. See, President Trump's push to introduce a new standard for global trade is coming into sharper focus with US. Yeah, this is a EU official coverage. 15% tariff deal, which could come on the heels of similar agreement with Japan. Yeah, when there's a lot of agreements happening, gold should be moving down. Taken together, the two developments represent a turning point in months of global trade negotiations that have stoked uncertainty amongst investors and America's biggest trading partners. Yeah, man, like this is one of the main reasons. What's happening with the tensions? I haven't heard much of the tensions that's been that was going on previously here. We don't have any more war news. War news has kind of died out. War news has died out, but men, gold acted the complete opposite. When all of this was going on, gold moved down. You know, instead of gold moving up, it was crazy. But I think it's because the tariffs held a lot more weight in the interest rate decisions. Japan Akazawa trade deal has eased uncertainty to some degree. Car tariffs have been hitting auto exports in value. Chinese trade negotiation team arrives at venue for second day of talks with the US. Trump, the fake news is reporting that I am seeking a summit with the President Xi of China. This is not correct. I'm up 5% today. Small account. Nice, nice, nice. Hey Vic, what do you think if the price looks like it wants to go up, but it created an opportunity for a sell? Will you take it? If it looks like it wants to go up and create a sell opportunity. Yeah, I mean, like that's if, especially if the daily is moving down. But in this scenario, the daily is up 0.35%. So the idea of the trade here is you're still trading with the majority volume. So yeah, if you take a sell and price is moving up, I still think it's still a good probability. Like even though we had the short-term bullish move up, that price can at least have some maybe further follow-throughs. Further follow-throughs to the downside. But to be honest, like this trade over here, I would probably be... It looks like I would be securing something. Or no, it looks like I would be break even for this trade over here. Because, you know, as price was breaking and it moved down about, you know, like 18 pips over here, I would have put my stop to break even, anticipating that price can move down towards like something like maybe like a 33.24, because we do have a lot of range. So I think that would be a break even. Or if you secured something, then, you know, you moved like 18 pips. We got on the 1 minute time frame. Yeah, stop loss would be just above here, I believe. As well, let me just bring that back up. So on the 1 minute play, you'd have a tighter stop. Be just about a 0.80 risk to reward, and then price came back to retest the highs. But you notice, like, even though it came back to retest the highs, it still didn't break the highs, correct? So it's just the same thing as what happened yesterday on my trade. Remember, like, how price came into drawdown? But that's why your stop loss should always be at a key level of structure, because, you know, you could still survive the moves potentially, and you got to do what you got to do. If you're going to be getting out break even or catching the full move, you still have the option to survive drawdown if you got a good stop loss. So I would say, like, that's the most important thing. Yeah, this is a good sell, but the problem with the sell, I guess, would be holding it, because it's giving like quite a lot of drawdown there. It's raining for you at the first time in so long. Oh, that's nice. Cozy, rainy trade day. Listen to some lo-fi beats. Wait for a stress-free trade. You know, let it come to you. Very easy, nice trade. If there was one thing I would do differently, if I could start this whole journey again, was just to take the trades that were the easiest trades for me. You know, because I always had like, and we always have these trades for us, which is like very easy. But I would have focused more on this and treated trading more of like a hobby, you know? I'll treat it more of like a hobby and just wait. Every now and then I get like a perfect trade, and then I just try and execute on that trade, where everything is just kind of lining up. But you need to get to a good level of experience first, at least. I think, you know, within the first year, at least, you know, like laying down a good foundation for yourself. I guess that's the only harder part, is like really getting a good foundation quicker. Because if you have a proven concept, correct? If you got a proven concept which, you know, works, then you can see that it works. Then you got to execute on the cleanest setups for that proven concept. If you don't have a proven concept, then that's going to take you time. If you're building your own strategy, then for sure you're going to take like at least a year, you know, of like laying down those solid foundations. But if you already got the concept, all you got to do is wait for the cleanest ones. And that's why I said, like, markets only move 3 directions, right? Moved sideways, bullish, or bearish. You know, whatever else that you choose to use, like these little Fibonacci retracements and everything else, yeah, sometimes that could be a bit complicated. Like, I lost a lot of money with these sort of retracement strategies. Correct? So I would have just focused more on these 3 market directions. And it's something my mentor taught me. Like, it's something I learned from a course very early on, but it never really stuck to me. It never hit me. It never hit me like the way it hits me now. Because that's the only way you can make sense of markets. You know, everything else, you can get a bit confused. But for example, you can see example here, markets moving sideways. That already gives you some sort of an idea of what to expect from your trades within the gulag. And if you're doing like a high risk trading, then it gives you an idea of the environment that you're trading. Sometimes I get to see an easy trade after it has happened. Exactly, like right after, right? So in hindsight, it looks like, oh man, that was a nice trade. But you know, taking the risk is always the hardest part, correct? Like committing to the trade. So we normally like wait a bit longer, you know, we kind of talk ourselves from it. Then it happens and we're like, damn, that was actually a good trade. So that's going to happen quite a lot. And it's okay. You know, you're going to paper trade that. And the more that you see that happen, it's going to become like something you're going to start executing in the future. You know, and it's going to become like tying your shoelace. You know, when you tie your shoelace, you know, you can tie your shoelace and talk to somebody and you don't even think about it. You know, you don't think about it. All you do is like, that's how you want your execution to be. Like if you see something, you execute. You don't think about it, like tying a shoelace. But if you don't have that confidence, then, you know, you're going to overthink. You're going to question a lot of things and you're going to miss these moves. And, you know, that's the emotional roller coaster of trading as a sort of beginner trader or understanding systems. But man, there's nothing better than executing. Man, I actually love to execute. That's why you see me sometimes on stream. I can have my setup here in like literally the first 10 minutes of stream. I'm not going to hesitate. You guys ever see me hesitate? I rarely ever hesitate on stream. I see my entry, I take it. Finished. This happened here literally on stream. I was done 10 minutes into the stream. I was finished. I could have ended my day here. 10-minute stream and then go about my day. Yo, if you see it, execute. Don't question it, because you know anything can happen in the market. These ones that you're questioning are the ones which are winning, and the ones that you're not questioning are the ones which are losing. So, you know, just execute. If it's your setup, it's your setup. Just take the trade. Take the damn trade. You know, best setups fail, worst setups win. At least you took the trade. Because what I realized is if you don't take the trade, you kind of also don't learn anything. Correct? You just miss the trade. But if you had taken the trade and even lost the trade, you would have still learned something from that move. Correct? So you don't take losses, you take lessons. So you might as well just take the trade. There's a really nice accumulation break there. But right here, this let's say I didn't take this sell. I may have missed the buy because I had a bearish bias. So realistically for the London, I don't think I would have taken the buy. But I could have taken the sell here and I would be put at a break even, it seems. It seems like it would have hit about 18 pips and then taken me out of break even for this one. I always talk myself out of it. GJ looks like it's gonna make a move. Let's see. Oh, it's breaking above. Yes, distributing, man. The wheels on the bus are going around. Now you see, like, now price is moving over here. Like that song. The wheels on the bus go round and round. So you got GJ moving up here now. So this should be a distribution, you know. There's only two things which can happen here. You're gonna have a winning trade or a losing trade. And there's a secret hidden thing here that can open up. If you have enough XP, you're gonna get a secret box which opens up here. That's gonna be the risk management. That's gonna be an option that the market is gonna give to you if you can reduce your risk based on what you look for to reduce that risk. Maybe if it hits like a break-even point, or maybe it creates like some structure here that tells you it might be coming down. That's gonna be like, you know, when you play these games, that secret chest which opens up, it like shakes. It shakes and then it's like, so you get like a different option. Oh yeah, these are like more in those decision games. You know, in decision games, like if you explore the world and you get these items, like there's some items you can pick up here and there. They're not part of the usual track. And if you pick something off on the side over here, maybe it unlocks a decision for you later on. So, you know, now you get that option. So that's how I look at risk management sometimes. It's like a luxury that the market can give you. And it tells you like, hey man, you can either put your stop loss to break even here, or you're gonna take, or maybe you're gonna take that additional drawdown. So this morning I had an option like that. So for example, I took a buy on gold. Where did I take that buy? Somewhere here. I took a buy on gold, and then it came down. It hit take profit 1 twice. So on the second time it hit take profit 1, that box opened up for me. You know, that box, the treasure chest, it opened up and said, now you can put your stop loss to break even. We've retested, we've hit TP1 twice. You know, now you can make a decision whether you want to put your stop to break even, because I've already moved from that area. So for me today, I said, you know what, let me not take this option. And, you know, then I got stopped out. I should have put my stop to break even. I shoulda, I coulda. But you see, like, for me, gold still seems like it should retrace down. Take the L off. Yes, exactly. You gotta get all the L's and then you gotta take the L off. Easy trades in hindsight are always something that you could have caught. I live in the Mediterranean and the temperature hovers around 30, 34. Oh, nice. So you got like a kind of tropical rain. So kind of like a unicorn till the fall. Anybody here who lives in the Seychelles? Man, why is Seychelles so expensive? Seychelles is surprisingly really expensive. For like what, $40 for cab rides, short cab rides. Man, I saw a guy selling a coconut on the beach for like $7. A bloody coconut, $7. Falls off the tree for free. In abundance. But it's pretty nice area there. We got like 117 pips here. Price is on its way down. It's reacting off that 33.30 level. A trade like this is hard to catch because my first trade would have put up break even. This would be a re-entry. If you're really thinking that price can move down, that would just be a re-entry. Yeah, the only way I see how to catch the move is if you got to re-enter here. But for sure, I'd have been put up break even on the first attempt. Should take all the coconuts in Kenya and sell them there. Hey, that'll be a nice business actually. Imported coconuts. Those that fall off are not recommended to eat because your new best friend is gonna be the toilet for the next few hours, I heard. No, like fresh coconut off the tree, you can definitely drink that. Why not? That's nature's hydration. You get all those electrolytes. Coconut water is the best. If you're thirsty and you need to hydrate. In some countries, you know, they even drink milk straight from the goat or from the animal. So I guess it depends. I guess it depends where you're coming from. If you got like a strong immune system, you know, people get sick. Some people get sick very easily. $7 better come with something extra. I want a coconut for that much. Oh, look at this. Gold is starting to move here. It's like a shotgun entry now. Anything is drinkable if you're brave enough. Yeah, I mean, it can even be like, for people who come from, let's say if you're traveling the world, even the smallest thing like a tap water can affect you. So if you're coming, let's say from a first world country and, you know, you go to a third world country, but the tap water is not really dirty, like, it's just relative, you know, but that sometimes can affect you. Maybe you take a shower and you get some of the water in your mouth and you're gonna get sick from it. But it's something so small. You know, it's such a small thing. So it is quite interesting. It is quite interesting how different people react to things, certain things, you know. So for me personally, I was like raised in third world countries, so I have a pretty strong immune system. You know, like when I travel, I never get sick. I never get sick. So if I travel first world country, you know, that's fine, perfect. But third world country, I also never really get sick. So I can eat like street food. I think India would be a different topic though. I've never been to India. And from what I see on social media, the street food looks crazy. That looks crazy. I would not attempt that. But in most places, you know, I can eat like street food and everything would be fine. My throat hurts. I might be getting sick. This would be my second time in the last 2 months. Yeah, I think every year I get sick maybe like a range of 1 to 2 times. This year, I don't think I've been sick this year. No, I have not been sick this year. Yeah, it's a pretty good year for me here. I have not yet been sick, and we're already on the 7th month. Every year it's a range between 1 to 2 times. I almost got sick the other day. Like literally, like think about like 3 or 4 days ago, I was getting sick. You know, and I realized something. I only ever get sick when I don't get enough sleep. Those are direct correlation to me not getting enough sleep, because the previous days before that, I was not getting enough sleep. I was going to bed pretty late. So I started waking up one day and my throat felt a bit weird. I'm like, this feels weird. This feels weird. It feels like I'm getting sick. And then there's always something, you know, there's always something you can look back and see what changed. So for sure, not getting enough sleep, I've realized actually affects your body. Like you're meant to get sleep, and you're meant to get sleep because your body has a chance to sort of like rest, you know, rest and repair itself and all of that stuff. So that was the first time that I didn't get proper sleep for consecutive days. And then I started getting sick. You know, that was an interesting coincidence. So my body was getting weaker because I was not getting enough sleep. Man, I think like, man, trading changes your whole mentality to everything in life. It's the same way again. Start seeing drawdown. I'm like, hey, where is this drawdown coming from? You know, what has changed? And then you're like, okay, now we got to fix that quickly. And it's also part of a good entrepreneurial mindset. You know, the moment you see something's wrong is the moment you have to quickly fix it again. Quickly fix it. Because I remember what I said, guys, like those problems, they stack up on top of each other. So if you got like a, you know, a jar of water over here and you're getting some leaking, you want to be able to solve that leaking quickly before it starts creating more and more problems. So, you know, you got to see what your problem is. Like yesterday we spoke about fear, greed, exiting early, etc. And you got to start fixing that leaking, because, you know, it adds up on top of each other and it makes trading very difficult. Now, if you're coupling fear with greed, with over trading, with analysis paralysis, you know, now your jar here is just going to explode. It's like the dam is just going to eventually open one day and then the account's going to blow up. So, you know, just take it day by day, take it easy. Work on your holding. You know, let's say this week we're going to work on holding a trade. How are we going to do that? We're going to focus on maybe 2 times per week that we're going to hold a trade based off of what we think is the best type of structure to be holding that trade. So you're going to plan this, right? You're going to plan this and you're going to give yourself every week 2 times to hold a trade. You know, and then you don't think about it. You take the position, hold it, don't think about it. And then slowly you start building confidence and you start seeing which trades actually have better probabilities of running. Like so far this week, I don't think I've had a scenario where I could hold a trade necessarily for very long, because most of the moves seems to be coming like in the New York session, or like I'm just not on the charts for that. So yeah, this week for me, I have not yet had my opportunity to really hold a trade if I was gonna go by that metric. And you're like slowly but surely, man, you start to really fix those problems, because you just have to acclimatize to doing certain things. You know, once you're acclimatized to it, it doesn't seem as hard as it was before you did it. Correct? Like we all have that feeling. Before we do something, it seems a lot harder. But once we acclimatize, we're like, okay, you know, this is not as bad as I thought it was. Holding the trade is not as bad as I thought it would be. And then before you know it, you're doing it like tying a shoelace. It becomes subconscious, and then it's just like every other day. Every time I'm in drawdown, I come to the stream to avoid looking at the chart. Nice. Yeah, you should not look at your terminal when you're in drawdown. Just focus on the chart. You know, that's another thing. You take a position like this and you're already looking at the profit, at the P&L. So now you, instead of looking at this, and let's say if you take a sell here, instead of looking at this, you're looking at how price is going into red. You know, that's the worst thing. Now you're seeing how price is going back into greens. Don't focus on the P&L, focus on the chart work. Even whenever I'm about to get stopped out, I never focus on the P&L. I just make sure I'm focusing on the price action. So if we were going to trade this break of the highs, then that's when you'd be getting out. Right? You don't even look at it. You just close the button, close the trade. Now focus on the skill, focus on the candlesticks, because you know, at the end of the day, this is what's going to pay you. Wherever direction that this goes, that's what matters. Lot sizing and everything, you guys got to do that and not pay attention to it once you got your risk. Hey, Superfly, I focus on the beans. What beans? Kiss of Death on the 15. Yes, we got Kiss of Death over here. Really nice Kiss of Death on the 5 minute. Oh, on the 15 lows. Yeah, wow, look at this. Hourly candlesticks pulling down there. And GJ moved upwards. It's still trying to move upwards on GJ. Yeah, the first entry was right over here. It looks like 1-to-1 would have been hit. Man, that's brutal. That's brutal. Because if I took this trade, obviously I would be at break even here at about half of a 1-to-1. Half of a 1-to-1. Then eventually, you know, that's what the market does sometimes. And this was the reason for why I held my trade this morning. Because it's like, market's probably just retracing. You know, it moved up again and then it moved like this. And then it's like, oh, maybe it's just going to retrace again. Because we had the hourly opening and pretty nice stop loss. But the hourly pullback was heavy. So it was actually kind of like a search and destroy hourly pullback. But yeah, that was the idea behind holding trades. Whenever you hold a trade, you're holding based off of an idea that maybe price, you know, it just needs more room to breathe. But where was that hourly? G'day, how are you? Morning. Not every trade is a trade to hold. Yes. Not every trade is a trade to hold. Like we had beautiful PA last week. Last week gold was just skyrocketing up. This week so far we haven't got anything. Oh, so you still held the trade. Stress-free trade, TFX concepts, nice. You still held the trade. You accepted the drawdown here. But you know, if you're gonna manage risk based off of drawdown, you would be managing, let's say, from stop loss up over here. The moment this candlestick started to re-break these lows, then you'd have reduced stop loss. You could have reduced it here, or you could have reduced it here. Well, you got a few options, but you know, pretty nice trade. Pretty nice trade over there, because it just had this one retracement, and then it came down, and then continued to move downwards. So that would be an aggressive. You know, that's an aggressive thing. Usually you can expect a break even like this. It's a small push. It's not move from the area too much. So you can expect a lot more break evens, you know, as you wait for those much easier trades, which sometimes you get these trades which just keep going like this. You know, some people also like to trade like that. They're just going to take a shit ton of those break evens and then let the trade flow. You know, they're just going to cash the easy trades. But you know, that's gonna depend from setup to setup, because sometimes even a setup like this I wouldn't put at break even, maybe because the structure is a bit different and my stop loss is maybe a bit higher. So that means I need to wait for this structure to reduce my stop loss to break even somewhere around here. So you know, like each setup is gonna be different based off of the way structure forms. But yeah, pretty nice here, pretty good buy. I'm gonna write you W. No, we gotta do WIN. Winning. Have you always been a scalper in the early years of learning? Did you trade the larger time frames? Yeah, I used to trade the larger time frames. The problem with the larger time frames, I just couldn't. I would get stuck in consolidation. You know, that was a problem that I could never figure out. Was I would get stuck in consolidation and then price would start to go against me. So I found it very difficult to trade the higher time frames. You know, but I started off like higher time frames. I used to trade GJ on the, I believe it was like, at some point I was doing 4 hour and then 30 minute, like just anywhere from 30 minute to 4 hour. 15 minute, not so much. Because, you know, I was always told the higher time frames had the highest confluence. You know, they were the stronger time frames. So I was like, okay, you know, it makes sense. Makes sense. So every trade would have like a lot of waiting, you know, a lot of waiting. Like imagine a 1 hour candlestick play, you're gonna wait hours for that to play out. Whether it's like a trade like this, let's say you take a buy here, and I used to take buys on candlestick bodies, not the wick breaks. So when a candle closes, I'll take the buy off the body, and then maybe I'll trade. I don't even know if I'll trade this like this, but yeah, it was quite difficult, to be honest. And I used to have a problem with greed. So a move like this, I would be in profit, and then price would start going against me. And I wouldn't know whether to break even here or what to do with the drawdown. So I'll just let it go into drawdown and then take the L. But I can tell you, like, one thing that I really started finding like some consistency was the 5 minute time frame. Man, I even remember the time when I started trading the 5 minute, I was seeing a lot more wins, you know, and they were happening a lot faster. So I was like, okay, you know, I think the lower time frame is more suiting my style. I like to see these moves happen faster with a tighter stop loss as opposed to waiting longer. Correct? So I also didn't understand fundamentals at that time, you know. I didn't really understand trends as well, because my idea of technical analysis was looking at support resistance levels. So it was hard for me to really understand what the trend was, because, you know, I'd be looking like this and thinking, oh, this is a bullish trend, we're in a bullish trend. But I didn't have the perspective to also consider what's currently happening now, which is also markets moving sideways. So this is actually the trend. You know, this is just a previous trend. It would be nice if we kept moving up, but this is actually the trend. So there was a lot of like bias issues that I dealt with as well when it came to higher time frames, not really understanding the bias, because sometimes the lower time frames also look good, you know. So it was like it was really confusing. I started focusing on the 5 minute time frames, solely on the 5 minute time frames, and, you know, then I started to see a little bit less analysis paralysis. I was still losing, but, you know, at least I was understanding something like a bit differently because of how fast the candles are moving, you know. So imagine this. Imagine you learning for a year based off hourly candlesticks, purely off hourly candlesticks. You're going to take a lot longer to learn about structure than somebody trading on the 5 minute time frame, for example, because, you know, structure is always forming. Correct? So you're like, okay, so this is what a consolidation looks like, and this is what happens when a consolidation breaks out. You're not opposed to like waiting on even the daily, where you're like, okay, so this is what a consolidation looks like. Now you're gonna wait another week to see what it looks like when it breaks out. So I think like lower time frames definitely excel your learning pace, but you also gotta be disciplined enough. At least I was disciplined enough to stick to, usually my rule of thumb was 1 to 2 trades a day. So even on the lower time frame, I'd be like, okay, I need 1 to 2 trades a day. 5 minute time frame disturbs psychology and eventually overtrading failure. Yeah, exactly. That's why you got to stick to 1 to 2 trades a day. Took a buy on GJ from 198. I wouldn't recommend getting in now. Yeah, once you're profitable, trading is so much fun. It is fun. It's fun when the market's moving. What's my bias on gold today? My bias on gold has been bearish. That's why I even thought these sells here were a good idea. We got someone who catch the sells. They caught the sells, you know. There, that was a nice little sell over there. So that's the sell. That's the only sell I was speaking about, chat. Like, as we've been sitting here on stream, what have I been saying? The only idea I see here is a sell. We're at 33.30. Break of the lows here would have been the sell idea, correct? So we got the break, and, you know, price is now correcting this move. And then before that, I said there's a buy here above this wick. We should at least break that wick. We should see some movement, and your price moved up. And then price created structure. Now it's moving down. Then I also took my trade over here in the beginning of the stream, and, you know, that's it. But I think like price is moving quite nicely though overall. Little re-entry over here could have been the case as well. Little shotgun play. But my bias has been bearish. I've just been looking for sells on gold. Hey, what's up, Schwartz? Schwartz. Me see big candle, me happy? Yes. Monkey see, monkey do. If we see monkey, I mean if we see support get broken, monkey take a sell. Monkey take a sell because resistance here is we have resistance. And you know, and the trend is moving down. So I think that makes the most sense. If anything, this is a short-lived buy. I don't see any continuations here unless price can break above this high. Because what we said was, you know, prices just move from one level. They move from one level down over here to the next level. Correct? So we're just a step upwards. But this does not mean that we're going to be trending bullish. So you see, that's why I said like that analysis paralysis is something a lot of people deal with. Because they're going to see something like this and they're going to say, why are you counter trending? You know, because price is moving up. Someone's going to say you're taking a sell when price is moving up. You know, that depends on how you look at it. Because look at this. Price has been moving down. So which one is the one to follow? Are we following this one? Or are we following this one over here? You know, that's a question you got to ask yourself. Hey, Ravi, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. You know, and then when the move happens, you say someone in the chat said that they only see the moves in hindsight. Remember what I said? Like, this is now going to be in hindsight. You're going to say, oh, you know, that made sense. But in the moment, it feels risky. Because, you know, you're going to overthink. You're going to talk yourself out of it and say, oh, but we're moving up here. You know, and definitely is something to keep in mind. That just helps you to manage your risk. So if you did have any drawdown, you wouldn't be too overly confident. You know, in case price really starts pushing against you, I think it would be a smart idea to manage your risk. Doji candle colored like banana. Monkey don't eat. Now we're getting distribution. So it's just the sellers here getting paid out. So you can see these market cycles, correct, guys? Like, you know, the market's always setting up first. It says a setup. We'll just take this representation here and then it distributes. Setup and then distributes. Right now it's in a distribution phase. Correct? So now you got to wait for the next setup. GJ is in a distribution phase. Look at this. Broke the highs of the accumulation so it can keep moving up here towards 198,300. That resistance has been filled up. But you see, this was a bus stop here. So remember we spoke about the bus stop? Now you see the buses leave. It's left the train, the bus station. It's left the bus station and it's made its first stop over here at 198,300. So you're going to see markets do this. They're going to set up, pay you. Set up, pay you. Set up, pay you. Problem is people start asking me buy or sell when we're in distribution all the time. People always talk about overthinking. I think that's better than underthinking. But ideally you want to meet in the middle. Yes. Overthinking is going to happen. You know, that's going to happen naturally. Even if you don't want to do it, it's going to happen. It's going to happen unless the trade goes in your favor immediately. You're going to overthink. You know, that's your fear instincts kicking in. And fear is important for the human race. If you don't have any fear, it's very dangerous for you. So, you know, you just have to learn how to control that fear and understand where it's coming from and the probabilities of what you're doing. But fear is something that you cannot completely remove. You know, even if I said this was a nice sell, I was at the same time thinking, yeah, but that, you know, that daily candlestick is up bullish. So there's always going to be these intrusive thoughts. So you have to work around like executing your plan and understanding that anything can happen in the market. And those intrusive thoughts, they'll only hold you back. Those are the thoughts which make you mismanage trades or not execute, you know, because you're never going to have a perfect scenario. The universe is never going to perfectly line up for you to do something. You know, a lot of people wait too long. If you're doing a project in real life or whatever it is, we're waiting too long for the universe to align. Just get it done. Just do it now. Bay or sail? What's the next trade plan? You gotta wait for a market to set up again. I mean, the only other thing I can say is there's still a bit more room here. There's about like, you know, 80 pips below 33.20. There was one break of structure here. And then another break of structure here. And this is the next support. You know, you've created a next support over here. So price needs to break below this support so it can keep moving down to fill this range. Because right now what it's doing is a break and retest. It's probably giving buyers an option to make some money here. So some people were gonna look at this as a break and retest. See, correct? So you know, you're gonna the more you learn in trading, the more trades you're gonna take. So someone else maybe could have seen this as a breakout. Maybe that was their entry here as a breakout. Somebody else right now is seeing this as a break and retest. Maybe somebody out there is looking at this as a point of control or a fair value gap. Maybe it's hiding somewhere around here. But you're going to see all these different types of angles the more you learn about trading. So, you know, this is not necessarily a good thing, but what it's showing you is that everything works to some extent. You know, trend line bounces, break and retests like this. Some people just do them like this. Everything works to some extent. You know, you just must manage the psychology behind what you're doing and what the cleanest ones look like. You see, like everything works. You're going to have a hit rate on literally all the strategies. That's a beautiful break and retest. Buyers make money, sellers make money. Lemmings get slaughtered. But you know, for price to move up, there's a lot of resistance here. Like you got these wicks, you got a couple, resistance points here. You got a few resistance areas, so it's kind of like some heavy lifting. I think the cleanest sells actually do come below support. They come below support over here again. You made what you wanted in that buy. It's like it's coming back into the zone. This is an accumulation. So, you know, sometimes I see this happen on the LTF on the 1 minute where price accumulates and it comes back into the zone like this. It's basically fetching orders that were, you know, this is a whole auction of buyers and sellers. So it's like coming back to fetch some more orders. Fetch some more orders in here. So it's having this move. It typically happens on the 1 minute time frame. Let's see, was there any examples here? These were pretty clean follow-throughs. A clean follow-through there too. It usually happens. I think this could have been one situation over here. You see, it's like coming back into the auction to dip its toes back in here. This is the resistance and this is the support that I'm looking at. Correct? Like this is the same thing that's happening on the HTF right now. And then price comes, you see how markets are fractal? Then price comes back down, dips its toes back inside the accumulation, and then starts to move up. You see, you never really miss a move in the market. Look at how many times it did that. One time, another time right here, little accumulation breakout. Let's see even coming here. Oh, this one nearly stopped out. This one came all the way down and then pulled all the way back up there. But yeah, you can see from that little accumulation right here how we came back to retest that area right over here. So that's why I say you never really miss moves. I guess once you start understanding fractals in markets, I feel that creates you some sort of better foundation, once you understand from a fractal perspective, just like we just explained over there on the 1 minute and how I'm showing you here on the higher time frame. You see how that works? The market is like this. It repeats itself like this, but in like different shapes, different forms, like different ways. It's going to repeat itself over and over again. You can find it in there in all the detail, and you can find it out there when you zoom out. So I think that's a beautiful thing about markets. And I guess that's the level that you want to get to. So it's like understanding. Remember, like we use the analogy of a cameraman. The best cameraman is the one who knows his camera inside and out. He has deconstruct his camera. He knows how it operates. So he knows what it's capable of. I always scalp the rejections. It's my strategy. Stupid, but make me money. Nice. Yeah, it's a never-ending cycle. Literally on repeat every day. So if you're a losing trader, man, you're gonna keep losing until you change something. Sometimes it has nothing to do with your strategy. It has more to do with your habits. I have a small account, but profit is profit. Yes, sir. It's the same trade. Maybe someone makes 50K on, you made like $5. You know, profit is profit. It's just all like, it's all relative, you know. Someone making 50K and you making $10 or $100. It's just relative, but it's the same move. My intrusive thoughts tells me to buy gold with a 30 lot and then buy a lamb. I noticed that my strategy should have very minimal drawdown. It should tap my level and move in my direction. All my losers tend to hover around the entry, even if it's just, yes, that's true. Your winning trades are the ones which are going to be your sniper entries. Correct? They give you zero drawdown. And you could achieve that by being a John Wick. So let me get my John Wick emoji over here. You know, we got John Wick, we got Bogdanov, we got Ronaldo, we got Salt Bay in here, we got Spider-Man. But you know, there's two ways you can do zero drawdown. You know, you're either gonna be like a John Wick who's just catching these moves like this and, you know, going straight into profit. But there's no difference between something like this and something like, let's say, accumulation breakouts, the ones that I love to take. Something like this. They're both zero drawdown. Correct? And what do we know about our best trades? Our best trades, they give us no drawdown. The moment it starts to hover in our areas, that's when we're getting those whips. Correct, guys? So you can see this. Look at the accumulation break, zero drawdown. Accumulation break, zero drawdown. Accumulation break, zero drawdown. Man, now imagine this. Imagine now that you can make a strategy here where you can lose way less and earn way more with that knowledge. You know, what would you gonna do? What are you gonna do now? You know, that's why I said the sauce and whatever it is that you want to achieve in trading will start from a risk management perspective first. But look at the way price is reacting with your strategy, you know, because at the end of the day, you do have to have a strategy. You do have to have a strategy, which is not going to give you zero drawdown. And then you're going to understand your strategy and say, okay, you know what? I could be catching bomba clot trade here. What if I risk 1%? What if I risk 1% and have a massively tight stop loss like this? Let me give myself a range of 1 to 2%. 1 to 2%. Let me catch a consolidation breakout, TFX concepts, and say only the ones with zero drawdown are my bombaclot runner trades. You see, now you could have had like, maybe give yourself like 5 pips. Make it a little bit more mechanical as well, you know? You give yourself like 5 pips here, give yourself like 5 pips here, and say, okay, you know, the best trades don't give me drawdown, so price shouldn't hit this area. Screw the support. Let me just be a little bit more aggressive. Look at this. You get bombaclot trades all over the place. You know, that's my small bombaclot trade over here. So you can choose that option, or you can go John Wick style. You know, John Wick style are the people who loves to get it, like when it's coming against you, and then it moves like this. But, you know, to each their own. Like, each one will work. I prefer mine because I have data on mine. I don't understand these counter trend moves. I mean, counter push moves. You know, so once you start thinking about things in that perspective, and this was happening back to back, mind you, you know, this is going to repeat itself again. Then it gives you some options on how you can start looking at maximizing your gains in the market. YK research suggests that most losing retailers try to catch bigger reversals and yeah, exactly. That's true. They try and catch the tops and the bottoms. But there can only be one. As Space Angel said before, you know, there can only be one top and one bottom. So you catching it is going to be very difficult. Because imagine when price is moving like this, how many times that you think you're going to catch the bottom and price just keeps going down. Then what, you know? Could you have caught this move realistically? Down here, oh, pretty close to 3,300. At least you got some confluence here, 3,300. But sometimes it doesn't even get to 3,300. Most people who have these systems, they're always missing by a few pips. You know, they're always being too perfect. And then it just misses by a few pips. Because they wouldn't want to get in here. They would rather get in here. You know, and then they get kind of like miss a move. Hey, Vic, shout out from the Philippines. Thank you, thank you. Correct. If you can't trade 0.01, you can't trade one lot. Exactly, it's the same thing. You know, if you can't be profitable with a 10-cent lot, you can't be profitable with a 50-cent lot or one lot. Yeah, 0.01 is quite low. I would say anything like somewhere you can close partials is a good start, like 10-cent lots. Bro, imagine if the mafia turned to trading for making money. Haven't you watched The Accountant? Man, you should watch The Accountant. The Accountant too. So you got the cartels over there, and one of the cartel members in the end of the movie, the main guy was trading. Like you can see him in his room there, in his room on his laptop, and the dude is trading. So yeah, I would not be surprised to see if the cartels are gonna be trading. You know, they do control supply and demand to a really big scale. Supply and demand of certain things, and they have insider information as well. So 100%, man, with the amount of money that they make, you need to diversify that money. You know, problem with Pablo Escobar, maybe Pablo Escobar didn't know what to do with his money, you know, so he had to dig it up in holes, and you know, he had to hide it in houses, and he had to hide it all over the place. And you know, rats started eating all his money, because what was he gonna do with all that money? He was making way too much money. So 100%, man. I think for sure they're definitely in the market somehow. And with the amount of money that they move, like that industry, it's like hundreds of billions of dollars. You know, so they're moving a lot of capital around. And obviously the government is in on it as well. You know, obviously the government makes money from these things. Because if it's a large industry like that, then you know, the government also needs to get something. You know, they can't just, these guys are going to operate with or without them, so the government also must get something. It's like, it's always seen like this, you know. Government's got to get something from it. I mean, pharmaceutical industry is one that's legal. They can do it legally like that. Get people addicted on things which are supposed to help them. Like, I used to have a friend also who used to take these meds, like, I think he had ADHD or something. And man, the guy used to be so docile. You know, it was so bad for him. And it was a legal thing. But now he stopped taking them and he's more normal. Like, he has a little bit more energy. But back in the days, man, he used to be like Sleepy Joe. But nowadays, he's like more alert. So yeah, it's crazy. I think the market is an avenue for moving tons of money. You know, that's why we have Bitcoin over here. That's why people like things like Bitcoin as well. And that's why I got Bitcoin moving up to, like, you know, it's at 123,000 heading upwards to like 130K. So I think it's pretty good. Escobar should have moved into passive income and lived the life of his dreams. Yes. Man, the problem with that life though, once you're in, you're in. You can't really get out. Because, man, you have pissed so many people off that you're always gonna have to look over your shoulder at that point. Once you're in, you're in. But definitely, I think for people with money is markets. Once you have a certain amount of money, we're talking about, you know, maybe 50 million, hundreds of millions of dollars. There, you can't be opening businesses. It's just not, it doesn't make sense. You have to have a portfolio of investments across the board. And the market is a perfect place to do that. And that's why we're just like small fish here, you know. We're just little scalpers in the market trying to play off these much bigger moves, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars, trillions of dollars traded every day. And all you gotta get yourself, imagine this, there's trillions of dollars traded in the market every day and you can't end a week even with $1. You know, just imagine that. All that money flying around and you can't even end the week profitable. What does that mean? You know? And if you want to know, you gotta watch this video over here that we released yesterday. Let me see if I can send you a link. It's a 34 minute lecture over here. This was already uploaded in the WAP database too. Pablo Emilio Gavirio Escobar. He should have been a trader. But he was in the supply and demand business. Just not the kind that we're used to. You see the rejection in the 5-minute candle I just bought after I closed. I sell under the 5 but RR 1 to 1. The thing is you get around 60 to 75%. Oh, nice. That's not bad. That's really good. That is really good. I got a guy coming later on. He's gonna buy my GPU. I was selling my old GPU. Man, you know, GPUs are so nice because there's so much scarcity of these things sometimes that the price never really goes down. You know, a lot of technology like phones, for example, if you resell phones, maybe you're gonna resell at, you know, like half of the price. Or something, you know, a slightly older phone. But with GPUs, it's a bit different. Also, it depends on like where you live that you're gonna have access to those GPUs or not. Yeah, GPU industry is actually quite interesting. It's like the same way people can buy watches, you know, watches which go up in value. I think the craziest was that Tiffany. There's a Tiffany watch. I think it was retailing at, what was that, $50,000, and then it became $6 million. They retail for $6 million and they don't sell them anymore. So sometimes GPUs are kind of the same way. especially when there's lack of resources to make them, you know, and then the prices go up exponentially. So I got a guy coming in later. He's gonna be buying my old one for a pretty good price. There's a Patek Philippe Tiffany Blue. Yeah, look at this. This is that watch. Patek Philippe Tiffany Blue. The watch, this was the retail price of this watch was $52,000 and it sold at auction for $6.5 million. Man, just insane. 120 times more than its retail price. Look at this thing. Crazy. Ooh, LeBron James has one. Man, that blue looks so nice. It's like turquoise, kind of like a turquoise blue. Pretty simple design over here, very clean. Yeah, I always love this as well. That date, when it shows you the date, I really like that. Oh, this guy's got one too. Oh, Jay-Z's got one here too. The Sheikh has got one here too. Insane. 50,000, 52,000 to 6.5 million. Crazy. You know what's never gonna go up in value like that? Luxury cars. Most luxury cars, unless you're a collector and you're collecting older cars, most luxury cars are just only gonna go down in value. You know, you have more kilometers on it, then you know what you're gonna do with it. Can't do anything with it. But something like this, man, that's crazy. Yeah, I think, whoa, I think this guy, I saw this guy in a video one time and he did not know the value of his watch. I think this is the guy. That he was wearing this watch he had for a really long time and he didn't know the value of it. And he's like, holy shit. He was doing like a tour of a house or something, I believe it was. Oh, we got Lionel Messi over here. He's also got one. That's sick. I think that's a guy. I might be wrong though, but I remember something about this guy, and he was holding something that had a lot of value that he didn't know. This is Leonardo DiCaprio, I think. Leonardo. I know some people buy watches like if it was gold, then they buy it and keep it, planning to sell it after a long time. Yeah, I mean, sometimes they really do increase. It's not a bad venture to get into if you know what you're doing. And I think also, you know what happens? I saw it on a movie one time. So let's say if you're getting arrested, you know, if you're getting arrested and you have watches and jewelry and all of these things, apparently whatever's on you, the police can't take. So if you're getting arrested and you know, like, you know, the FBI come into your house, then you're gonna put all your shit on because they can't confiscate that stuff from you. So sometimes you have to spend the money that you're making. If you're making a lot of money, you just have to have these kind of investments to protect yourself. I guess it depends on what you do. You know, if you're doing something illegal, then you can always plan ahead. But it's good to always have, you know, little investments here and there anyway. Whether that's going to be like charity, you know, donating charity of sorts that you own, or you're part of like some ownership, or you have like a fund, you know, a fund of sorts that you can, like, you know, protect your capital. Buy some investments. Or you can go the old school way. Dig a hole in the ground somewhere and put some bags in there. You could go the Pablo Escobar way. Hey, what's up, Ken? Yeah, but traders don't have to worry about that. The only thing traders have to worry about are other people. You know, like other people who when they see like basically criminals. They're criminals. You've heard the stories. Like, man, you hear like, oh man, there's so many stories. I don't even know if I want to get into them, to be honest. There's so many stories about these guys who live in Miami and how they're getting robbed, and you know, their cars and everything. Like, people come to their houses and they're like, oh, you know, you got this watch, give me this watch, or I'm gonna scratch your car, I'm gonna scratch your Bugatti right here, give me a watch. These are true stories. Man, my mentor was robbed one time. You know, he lived in, and I remember this day, like he had so much money, like he was showing so much money on social media, because, you know, London session, he trades London session, and the London markets was so good during that time. There was so much volume and he had so much money. Man, the guy got robbed. The guy got robbed, and he was on social media. He said, anyway, you know, he can make it back because he's got the skill set that he can always make it back. But imagine, man. Imagine, because like the people who live where he lives, like they know him and they see these videos and they can time, like, you know, when you're on Instagram and you're showing off in your Lamborghini, you're driving in Miami, they're like, oh, this guy's not home and he just posted this much withdrawal that he made in the market. All right, let's go pay him a visit. You know, certain things like this happen to traders, because traders are a lot on social media. They like showing off everything. Being in the US was a first mistake. Yeah, he's got like, the US is one big GTA server. But yeah, I think I'm gonna head out here, guys. And I will see everybody tomorrow. London session. Take care. Don't overtrade. Adios.
Time for the slip, homie, now we bout to dip.